Hello, welcome. Happy to have you here. My name is Ileana, and I'm a librarian for the San Francisco Public Library. Thanks for joining us. I'm so happy that you're here to celebrate Women's History Month with Instructor Nekia Wright. We celebrate women everywhere with our program series, Her Story. Check out the Her Story webpage of the San Francisco Public Library to see our upcoming events, find great books by women authors and illustrators, and more. I'm going to share a land acknowledgement to raise awareness and offer gratitude. The area now known as San Francisco is the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples of the San Francisco Peninsula. As the original peoples of this land, the Ramaytush Ohlone have never ceded, lost, nor forgotten their responsibilities as the caretakers of this place. We recognize that we benefit from living, working, and learning on their land, their traditional homeland, As uninvited guests, we affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples and wish to pay our respects to the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush community. I encourage you all to learn about the land you reside or the land you visit. There are resources in the chat, and you can always find them at your local library. And thank you to the Friends of the San Francisco Public Library for their generous support of this entire program series. We could not do this without them. This Thursday, March 17th, join us for a very special panel discussion with Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Nicole Hannah-Jones and artivist Nicholas Smith as they discuss their lyrical picture book in verse, the 1619 project Born on the Water. And let me introduce Nekia Wright, who will be leading this audio production workshop today. Today, you are going to learn about audio production with simple software after brainstorming what makes a sound stand out. Our instructor, Nekia Wright, combines storytelling, sound techniques, and incorporates discussion on music elements. And we hope you have a story to share. Nekia Wright is an education consultant, sound healing facilitator, and musician based out of San Francisco, California, with over 10 years of experience teaching adults and children globally. Music, self-care, and community are her primary tools as an advocate for healing, self-determination, and justice. She serves as a special education teacher with the Oakland Unified School District. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we will get to them at the end. So please welcome Nekia Wright. Welcome, Nekia.
Greetings. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. We are going to jump right in. And I have a short documentary that I wanted to share that was actually done a couple years ago by a local filmmaker.
I was born in the middle of the drug war. When crack came into our community, it was like a bomb went off. My mom went into prison when I was 5. I was in an abusive home situation with my dad. I was the oldest, and I had an 8-year-old sister and 1.5-year-old brother. After many years of living in constant fear, I was like, we gotta go. That was the scariest thing I think I've ever done. I ended up staying with 4 different foster families. I stayed in the system until I was 21. I decided to do a master's in special education. It became clear to me that the students didn't have disabilities. Their environment was disabling. I ended up helping develop programs connecting concepts of gardening to math, science, reading, arts. I can't imagine doing anything else but serving. I mean, with the life that I've had and just the amount of need that's within poor Black communities, it's not something that's outside of me, it's my family.
So that's just a little bit about me and how I grew up. And one of the reasons why I decided that I wanted to become an educator. And today I'm going to share some of just a really wonderful tool that I've learned, not just to help me, as a job, but also that's helped me heal, and that's using sound. So we'll start with one of these just to set an intention and offer that thanks to the stewards of this land, both from the past and the present. And I wanted to ask if anything if anyone wanted to add in the chat a time when they may have felt they may have felt like their school was not helping them, but might have been preventing them from learning or disabling their ability to learn. Has anyone else ever had that experience in school? And you can feel free to share in the chat. You can feel free you can also just feel free to think about that, to think on that, and what can we do to liberate all people, starting with school. So that's how I got into making music, not necessarily to make music to make money, but actually making music to heal myself and to liberate myself and others. So we'll start by showing you some music that I've been working on. So here's a track that I've been working on, and we will put this into the chat, and you'll have a chance, you can actually log in and start your own account. Typically, if you're a school in the Bay Area, your school might already have this program. It's called Soundtrap. So let's have a listen. This is a track I've been working on, and it's going to be used as a part of a yoga class. A friend is teaching a yoga class. So this is a track that I'm in the midst of, and I'd like to show you some of the concepts. So the idea of this track is just breathe. So have a listen. Oh, thank you so much. And we actually had someone who shared that their school isn't doing properly in sexual harassment. Would you like to share any more about, one, your experience, and two, what would you like? How would you like your this problem? Where would you like support? So let's pause. I'll have you can think on that while you're listening to the track. All right, so this is an example of a track that I've been working on, and I think we might even have like an opportunity to look at a topic. So Seagal, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly. Please feel free to correct me. Hi. So would you like to share about your experience? What I would like to give you a chance to share your experience first.
There was a boy in my class, and I don't think he knew what he was doing, but he got into multiple girls' space.
I'm sorry, Seagal, I can't hear you anymore.
I'm muted. Wow. Okay. Just went into a whole paragraph. Sorry.
Oh, you said he went into a girl's face?
Yeah. He went into multiple girls' spaces. And his parents weren't told until a lot later. And he never actually apologized to us. So we didn't feel comfortable like playing a lot of PE games or getting near him, which was challenging.
I am so sorry that happened. And thank you so much for sharing about your experience, and sharing in a way that was also very empathetic to what he would have been going through as well. That shows a lot, that shows your strength and character. And I really appreciate you sharing. And I also want to go into some of those things that you feel, like you said, some people make mistakes, but one thing that you mentioned is one thing that you would like for teachers and schools to do is to address it right away, not to allow multiple people to be targeted. Is that one of the suggestions you were saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. And then another, oh yes. And then the other thing you said was that he never actually apologized. So how can schools, and so there are some, so what are some things that we can do when we're in school in these situations? So the number one thing, like you said, was to tell an adult, but we need adults to both listen and follow up right away, correct? What else did you think that could happen? What, like, imagine there are teachers listening and principals listening. What would you like for them to be able to do? How can they support you better?
So a group of girls and I went actually to our teacher, and they didn't really do much. They defended the boy, I felt like. And so I didn't feel like I had a lot of support, which was just really hard.
So your teachers also need to be educated about sexual harassment and what it is, and how to protect you, because that's our job as a teacher, is to protect you. So I'm so very sorry that you were in that situation, and I'm so glad that you girls came together and talked to that teacher. So what are some other things that you and these other girls can do? What are some things that you can do yourselves what's a proposal you could make to your principal to educate people about sexual harassment? What kind of proposal could you make?
I feel like just maybe having a big project for the entire school just to learn, because I feel like a lot of people, it's not their fault. They don't know, and they should be taught.
Exactly. I think that is number one. You are such a brilliant person. So yes, that is number one, is I think every school, I agree. So every school should have a project, right? So today, what if we were to start a project, which is like a song to raise awareness about sexual harassment, specifically in schools? What do you think about that?
I think that'd be great.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing your story. Is there anything else you want to share before we go into how to make this song?
No, thanks though.
Okay, you're very welcome. All right, so you can see in the chat, we have our collaborative link. So you can actually click this link, and I'll give folks some time to click that link. And I'm gonna go back to this one here so that we can log in to our collaborative track. So you'll get an opportunity to sign in from into Soundtrap. Make sure you put your correct. Make sure you just fill in your information, and this company will protect you so that your information won't be shared with any adults. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy this. Now, if you're not able to log in, it's okay if you're not able to log in now. We're gonna be going through this process together. And so if we look here, we have this track that I created, and you noticed it was like a story. It had a beginning, and then it had a middle, and then it had an end. Now, this is just a short track, but we can see that it has these three, great. We can see that it has these three parts, okay? These three parts. Now, another thing you'll notice as you start to look at this is you'll see that all of these different tracks. So these are all different parts of the songs that I've added. And some of these tracks, I mean, these ones here, some of them are muted. I'll give you just a short overview of how to use this platform. So here we go. So we've got over here all these different tracks that we can add and delete, okay? Up at the top, we have the name of our track. We can save our track. And then we have the same functions that you'll see in any kind of Word, any other type of, you can copy, save, all of that. Now over here, you'll see that there's an option to change it from bright to dark lit screen. Dark lit screen is a little easier on your eyes, so I like to use that one. Then here you'll see an option to share, and that's what I just did. I shared a link that they put into the chat for us, okay? And then we also have our loops here. So this is how I get a song started, is by using these loops. So that's what we're gonna have a look at today. So we can see here, this is one big track that I've been working on, and I wanted to kind of show you the beginning, middle, and end. And you can see that you can add different types of tracks. So this is a percussion track. You can listen here, you'll hear that percussion. Okay, here we have some beginning soothing sounds. And these are all little loops that we'll add in to make our tracks, okay? So did anyone have, the last thing I wanted to show you is down at the bottom, we have our controls. You can see where you are in time, you can see your volume, and then you'll see here is the key of the music, as well as the tempo. So the tempo is the beats per minute, whether it's gonna be a fast beat, this is a little fast, dun, 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 or a shorter beat, dun, 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 as well as a smaller tempo, as well as our key. So the next thing we're going to think about is why did I choose this key? I'm seeing some folks are able to log in. Excellent. Why would I choose this key of F? So what is a key? Why, is it like a lock? How does it work? So the music, of course, is a type of language. And we use these different patterns, and these patterns have certain pitches, right? And a pitch is basically, it's how fast the sound waves are moving. And if they're moving really fast, the pitch will be a little different. And depending, and if whatever speed, if it's at whatever the speed, so if it's moving at 105 hertz per second, then it's always going to be the same note, right? The same note. And then there's certain notes that you can play together, and you know that they're going to sound good together. And those are musical keys, and it's a pattern. I'm not going to get too deep into musical theory, but I highly suggest you explore it. So one of the keys that we hear a lot is C major, and that's a key of music that a lot of children's music is actually in. Also, a lot of rap music is in C major. It's innocent, happy, not even if the words, we're not talking about the words, these are the sounds. These are the sounds that this music elicits. And you have this in your sheet. So if you go to your beats, I'm not sure if we can put that into the chat, our beats, Making Beats with Miss Nekia, there's a little worksheet that has all of these little links for you. So the link that the one we're looking at now is number 4, which is musical keys and emotions, right? And so different musical keys, they found out, will help us to express different types of emotions, all right? Now, why is it important? Well, first of all, an emotion is not a bad thing. An emotion just is. It is what it is. So we don't need to judge the emotion. However, what we've learned in traditional cultures is people release that emotion in many different ways, through exercise, through music, and music is a really safe way to release emotion. So if someone had experienced something like Seagal had shared, she shared that she had experienced sexual harassment, and what kinds of emotions might come up for someone who maybe has experienced that? Where would you start, with your emotion? Did anyone want to put in the chat what kind of emotions might someone feel if they were being if they were not if they didn't feel safe? Any ideas, or anyone want to put in the chat? When I haven't felt safe, I've felt angry, I've felt upset, I felt sadness, I've felt grief, like a sense of loss, because it's like a loss of my power. It's a loss of my freedom. I'm not as free as the other person. And so these are some emotions that might come up. And certain keys can help you release a certain emotion. So look at this one for the C minor. Music that's in a C minor could offer despair and wailing and weeping. Someone might say, I don't want to make my music like that. Well, you can have your music just like a music has a beginning, middle, and end. You have an introduction, you have a climax. You can take someone on a journey, and maybe that sadness might be a part of the journey, but we also want to think about where we want to end our journey. So even if we start like what when you saw in the video, from how I grew up very oppressed, not just by a lot of the people around me. And I had to work very hard to keep myself safe and my siblings safe. And a lot of times I realized that I couldn't depend on adults to do it. I had to just learn how to keep us safe ourselves. And so at first I was angry and disgusted, because it is disgusting to be made to feel the ways that oppressed people are made to feel. And then we have to think of what we want to transition into. So I would want to transition into empowerment, right? I want to feel empowered. And that's what I did with my life. I had many experiences with sexual harassment and racism and sexism and abuse and trauma. But I acknowledge those feelings, and then I transform those feelings into something else. And we have the capacity to do that. That's a part of mindfulness. We have the capacity to transform feelings and emotions and into new things. So after releasing that, I made a promise to myself that I would not be an oppressive person. That when I had power, I would use my power for good no matter what, even if it was hard. And as a teacher, sometimes it's really easy just to force people who are smaller and younger than me to do what I want them to do. But that wouldn't keep me true to my beliefs. So I had to learn how to shift how I taught so that I could have a liberated approach. And that meant liberating myself. So my key of music, if you look here, is in the key of F sharp. And if we go to our musical key characteristics, can someone read what F sharp major is? Would someone like to read that? Or I can read it. I'll read it. Okay, I'll read it. So F sharp major, conquering difficulties, a sigh of relief, triumph over evil, obstacles, and hurdles, surmounting foes, and finally finding rest in victory. Brilliant clarity of thought and feelings. That's how I wanted people to leave my song feeling. So maybe at the beginning of the song, there would be a sense of grief or sadness, whatever the obstacle is that someone is overcoming. But at the end of my song, this is what I wanted. So this is why I chose this key for my song. Now, what I think we should do is we want to think about what the beginning of this song could be. So what I'm going to do is I am going to try to simplify things, okay? So I'm going to just do this. I'm going to delete this whole track that I made. I already have another example, so it's okay. So I already made a copy. Don't do this. Well, don't do this unless you have a copy. So let me see if I can do this again. Boom. Okay. And now we can add in some new tracks. And what kind of sounds can we bring in? So let's go back to Seagal's experience. So that is an experience that women in the workplace, girls in school, women walking down the street, women pretty much trying to do anything. We're often met with oppression, with patriarchy, with sexual harassment. And often it seems so overwhelming that people just accept it, even sometimes other women. So how can we put the feelings that we have about those experiences, how can we express that in music? How can we express and honor the experience that women have had, that Seagal has had? And what kind of music, what kind of sounds might be help us to communicate that? So we have one here. Let's listen and see. And then in the chat, let me see how we're doing, folks. You can tell me, you can do a thumbs up. You can say yes or no. I would love to have some participation. It's totally cool if you just want to watch and learn, but participating is fun. So let's start with this. So I have this one here, which is a synth sound, and it just says angst. So let's see what because that's what it makes me feel when I hear that these things still happen in the classroom. and that girls aren't feeling supported. What do you think? Should we keep this one? Does this sound like a good way to kind of start that track? We're starting a track to educate people about sexual harassment in schools. Yeah? What do y'all think? Okay, let's get started. So we'll do that one. All right, there it is. Now you notice it switched because we have it in this F sharp. Now I'm going to, I need to delete these other tracks. I don't want to get too caught up trying to do that right now. So just ignore those other tracks. Okay, so now we have like a melody. This is a melody, but we don't really have, what else does a song have? So this has a melody. What am I doing with my fingers? I'm starting to add a what? We need a beat. Okay, so we're not going to use the beat from my fingers because I'm just not that skilled at that. But we can find some beats on here. So let's find, do we want to find some drums? Percussion. Okay, let me put percussion in. Here we go. Okay, we've got some percussion. Let's listen. Crystal orange percussion. If you see something on the side that you want me to click on, just put it in the chat. That's one. Say yes or no, and I'll keep moving on to other ones. And you can say go forwards or go backwards. Nope. Okay, thanks for listening. All right, should we keep that one or keep going? We got it. Nope. Okay. All right, yes or no? Tracy York is letting me know. All right, there we go. So we're gonna choose that one. I'm gonna double click. And now we got a beat. Okay. What else could we add? What other instruments could we add? And if this is the beginning, let's focus. I can get ahead of myself. So is there another instrument that we might want to add? We have a melody. We have a rhythm. There's something called, oh look, Fritz got it, some bass. Okay, let's listen. What do y'all think? Yes or no, Fritz? All right, Tracy York says yes. Okay, everyone agree? Okay, all right. So now we've got some bass. Here we go. Now, does this sound like the beginning, the middle, or the end of a song? Where would we place this part? Is this the introduction of a song? Is this the climax of a song? Great. All right, Tracy. So if this is the beginning, it's all right. What could we add to, each time I'll just delete one track. Here we go. Okay. Drums. So, okay, so then let's add a new track. And now, we are going to put this track, let's get some drums. And that will give us, right, a little bit of and they've got an EDM fill. I don't don't think we're quite ready for any happy. I think we're still working through these emotions, right? What about the switch driving? Okay, what do y'all think about this? All right. Now I'm gonna do this so that the beginning and organize our track a little so we have it come in a little bit. Okay, all right, Seagal, I do want you to have a chance. Thanks for letting me know, and I do want you to have a chance to put some words on this track if you want, okay? So let's see how this sounds, and after we finish this last part, I'd love for you to be able to just put some words on here, okay? I'd love to hear your voice. So here is our beat. Should we keep that beat? Let's see if we do this. I'm gonna close this just so we'll have a chance to. So do you get the idea of how to use these loops to build a track? You think about it just like you would a band or an instrument, okay? So just like a band, like if we think about the different parts, typically you're gonna need a melody, you're gonna need some rhythm, right? And then you might want, and then you'll want drums, you can add in chords, some synth action. There's different ways. Now, before we get to, I have two other things I wanted to share. So another thing is, how can we, let's try this. Another thing is you can add words to your track. So that's the one thing I wanted to share, to show you just before you leave. So if you go here to voice, okay, and what I want you to think about is one word, right? If you could, if they're like to describe how women want men to treat them, how girls want boys to treat us, right? How every person deserves to be treated, right? Let's all think about one word to honor women. Okay, let's all think of some words to honor women. How do we honor women? How do we honor girls? Okay, you can think of a word or you can think of a phrase. I don't want to make it too complicated. A word or a phrase. So here we go. Here's mine. I'm just gonna do an example here, and I'll do a record. So you can record if you've already logged into the track. You can just add to the recording, and I'm gonna put my name here so that I know that this one is actually mine. And Seagal, if you have to leave early, or anyone else, you can always come back in and keep working on this track, and we can collaborate. I'll show you those features in just a moment. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to add the words. End patriarchy. End patriarchy. End patriarchy. End patriarchy. Okay, so now I've got my words that I just put in. Whoops. Oh, I'm gonna stop that. Don't do what I did. I'm gonna go back. Hold on. So here's what we're gonna do, because I think, I accidentally recorded over this again. This is what I was trying to do, and now we're going to play it. End patriarchy. End patriarchy. End patriarchy. Okay, so that's what I think we could do. We could end patriarchy, period. Just end it. End oppression, end patriarchy, end racism, end it all. So what do you all think? Okay, and so if you would like to unmute, if you unmute, I can record your words in the same way I recorded my words. Or you can record it yourself directly into the track. Does anyone have any words they want to add to our track? And here are the words of Assata Shakur. So I love the Freedom Archives. It is listed as a place where you can get samples for your tracks, okay? So Assata Shakur was an activist, right? She was an activist for the liberation of Black people. And she was imprisoned and tortured for her beliefs, but she did not give up. She ended up being able to escape prison and go to Cuba, okay? So that is where she's continued to live. Now let's hear some words that she said, and let's see if we can add these words to our track.
Uhuru, sisters and brothers. The first thing I want to say is that I love you. And the second thing I want to say is that we can win. We will win our liberation. And in order to win our liberation, we have got to think positive. We have got to believe that we can win. And if we don't believe that we can win, we'll whip before we start. We've got to realize what dangers exist, and we've got to look at those dangers realistically. We can't afford to have a subjective, distorted, irrational fear. We've got to look at the obstacles to our liberation coolly and clearly, and to develop ways to get rid of those, for us to struggle, for us to fight for our liberation and for our nation.
What do y'all think? How did that sound? Did you like it? Should we keep that as the beginning? And then you can all keep adding to it? And what if girls from schools all over the world work together to make an amazing song, an amazing video, and that educated all people about the rights of women? Wouldn't that sound like you could do that using a tool like this? Because before you leave, we've got this collaborator area. So I'm not able to see collaborators simply because simply because let's see what I did here. I'm not set up, I'm not in a school account. Once I set up my school account, then you can see children who have joined. But if a child joins and they are not an adult, it won't allow you to collaborate, but it will allow you to collaborate with other kids. Okay. And that's really, this is our voice and art and music is a powerful tool for raising awareness about issues and making sure that you could make a documentary and use this music as your background for your documentary. So that's another option that you can use this tool for once you start a project. I'm just going to go back here. Let's save this project. I'm moving too fast. And now if you go back here and you start a new project, you can start a new project and actually do a podcast. So you could have your music and then you could make a podcast over top. And then if you add a video to it, you have a documentary. And I think that all of you are capable of educating the world about the importance of women's rights and the fact that every girl, no matter where she is, deserves to feel safe at school, because we cannot learn or do anything if we do not feel safe. Okay, That is the number one thing. We learn better, we grow better, we work better when we feel safe. All right, so we've got about 15 minutes. And I'm wondering if we should start working on this next part of the track, or if you all want to work on your own track. And we could and you could play a clip for us. So in the chat, would you like to continue working on this track? And then what we'll do, I'll show you the very last part of this. So once we finish our track, and we'll just do an example right now. Oops, actually, here we go. In the studio. Cover and save. I'm going to join you in this one. Okay, let's see if I can see you all in here. Oh, great. So I can see you in this one. So here's what we'll do is studio. I'm going to send you a new link to our new track. All right. And so here we go. We'll enter the studio here, and I'll send the new link for the new track. So to do that, if you want to share a track, you can invite people, and I'm just copying that link there and share. No contact, copy, boom. And I will put that in the chat for you. So if you'd like to join us on the new track that we just started, where'd it go? And you can join me in that track. We can decide what to name it. So in the chat, please tell me what you think you want to name it. And we can continue adding and building it. So say this is the introduction to the track. Our track still needs a, delete. Our track still needs delete track. Great. It still needs a name. We can decide if we want to keep it in this key. I call it the key of empowerment, because I feel like a key that lets you overcome obstacles, that's like a key of empowerment to me. So delete this track. I think I've been deleting instead of duplicating. And as you come in, you see how whatever I added, I just put my name. And so I'll actually label it. The easiest way to keep track. So I'm going to say name and vocals, so that you know what track you're working on. And the other suggestion I would make is only delete things that you create. Don't delete things that other people create when you're working collaboratively, unless you talk to that person, because you didn't make it. So those are some things that I would suggest. And I want to share a little bit about so I shared a little bit about my life growing up. And I did a lot of things that at the time I was very, very afraid. I left my home with my siblings because I was terrified, and we had to go to the police station to find safety. And I didn't allow those circumstances to keep me from, okay, there we are. Okay, now it's all cleaned up. So I see some folks have joined. So you can go in, you can add a new track here. If you want to add a vocal, you can add voice. If you want to add something else, there are some other options too. So you can go here and you can add a piano. Okay. You can also add, there's a beat maker, and this beat maker is pretty amazing. This tool, there's some other tools. So if for some reason you're watching this and you do not have access to internet, it is okay. There are tools that you can use, and there's some tools in your sheet. But this here allows you to create the drum beats yourself. So those loops I was telling you about, actually, I'm just gonna put something here. I don't know what's gonna happen, friends. We're gonna find out. Those were pre-made, but this is how you can just organize your own. So here we go, and let's have a listen and see what that sounds like. It was actually so fast. So let's see if we can go back. So it was very, very fast. So I don't even think, so you can add your own beats here. I'm gonna save this, and then let's see if we can, you can listen to, see here, like how this works. So here we go. So we have our own beats here. That's in a specific machine called, you can move things around. So see how I'm just moving things around to where I want it to be. And now we can just listen to that beat, see what it sounds like. There we go. That was the beat I just made using that beat maker. So you can make your own beats if you go through the loops and you find that there's not something that you want. Also, there's a synth. So if you have a MIDI player, if you know what that is. Okay, thank you so much for joining. Then you can add that there as well. Okay. So you can connect your MIDI or your like little mini keyboard to this, and you can play in yours. You can also just add your own instruments by recording. Like when I play the flute, I add in vocals. Did anyone have any questions? Like we have about 5 minutes, and I think we are going to want to do a little closing reflection. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And I just wanted to see, did anyone have any questions? Before, in about 5 minutes, so we can have we have about 3 more minutes. Okay, well, let me show you how to import a file. And I can show you how to add in that Asada Shakur file. So here we go. This is the file. I'd already saved it. You can download it here. And then you'll see when I try to save it, it's already there. So we're just gonna say no and cancel just to show you where that is. And now I can go over here, and if I want to import a file, I can go here, and then I'm gonna go to, I think that went into downloads. No, it didn't. And then I go into documents. See, I should have checked. Why didn't I check? Oh, there it is. I'm gonna get one more documents. Nope. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna leave that, and let's go back just one moment. Let's check what file it goes into. Boom, it does go into documents, but it says, all right, we'll try one more time. And add a data. So this is all I'm doing is just importing this file here. I'm in documents, the files. Oh, they're not in order, maybe? That's crazy. Okay. And you can download these files and add them to your computer. I have a lot of files here now, and I'm trying to go through them to find this one. Sunday music. Yeah. And here we can add a different file just so you can hear what that sounds like. Tuesday. Huh. Okay. Sometimes I just get, okay, I'm gonna let that go. But you can add your own file there. And you can also, here's where you can you can invite a friend. And here's where you can also browse more of those loops. So the loops are over here in the corner, and there's many different, if you want a certain style or feel. So say you want a hip hop or jazz, say you want something that's a little smoother or like soothing. You'll get some like lighter, softer sounds. I don't know what this SFX raccoon is. And you can always go down here and change your key and your tempo. So if a sound seems a little too fast, let's just show you real quick. You can go down here and change the tempo. And it's going to adjust that tempo. So there we go. That is a little intro to how to produce your own music, and some examples of how you can use that music are definitely to use your music to express yourself. There's no reason that we need to hold the pain that people project onto us inside of us. So let it out. And music and dance and movement is a great way to let it out. Once you've let it out, then you're not carrying that hurt and harm around. Then you have strength to actually make change. And you can make change by organizing. Just like Seagal said, organize, and then don't stop. Okay? She said her teachers didn't listen, but then she came here and she said something about it, right? Do not let haters keep you down, and do not let people who are afraid keep you from getting the respect that you deserve. Okay? You are all wonderful and beautiful people, and you deserve to feel safe. And if you do not feel safe, please let an adult know, because we are all, any teacher is it's mandatory that we report certain things. So please keep speaking up. Please keep telling adults when you're not being treated fairly or properly, and especially when you do not feel safe.
Thank you so much, Nekia. That was amazing. That was fantastic. Thank you for being a wonderful library partner and sharing your skills with us. And folks, thanks for being here. If you love today's program, check out our calendar for more virtual Her Story programs. Come visit us at the library. We are open. And that's all for today. Take good care of yourselves, stay safe, and we hope to see you back sometime soon. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.